It's Talk Funny, a podcast by Mark Bailey and other comics from all over. We ended up in Japan because is that wasabi on your pants, or are you just happy to see us? The Talk Funny podcast from Nagoyaradio.com and Nagoyacomedy. Here's Mark Bailey.
Here's Mark Bailey.
Welcome back to Talk Funny. I'm Mark Bailey. We're here with Mike Miller, and also we have a special guest today, and it's a guest we've had before, but his name for this podcast is
Intisar Tufi, and I have a way to make y'all memorize it, especially if you're millennial, okay?
Go ahead.
Ready for this? Okay. Intisar, 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 Intisar Tufi, Intisar Tufi, Intisar Tufi, Intisar. That song. Don't you just hate that song? I hear it all the damn time. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No.
I have no idea.
Oh, how, predictable. It's a song by Ed Sheeran called Shape of You.
Oh.
But see, I made it useful for a change.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Right? Yes. I'm sure the two listeners, I think they know they're tasteful, so they know what we were talking about.
So, yeah, that leads me into a story I alluded to before off mic. And one of my students, she's a really good student, and she's really good at English. But sometimes, they'll say something in Japanese if they're confused. So I said, the theme was a speech. Who's your favorite entertainer? So she said, who knows Sheeran? Who knows Sheeran? So I said, what? She goes, Sheeran? I'm like, Sheeran? She's like, yes. I'm like, Shiranai. I don't know Sheeran. She's like, Shiranai? Sheeran? Because that's the Nagoya band is like, Sheeran? I'm like, what's happening here? Are we doing Abbott and Costello?
Duran Duran.
Yeah, it's like, Sheeran? No. So who's your entertainer, your favorite entertainer? Sheeran? I don't know. That's why I just asked you, who's your favorite entertainer? She's like, Sheeran. His name is Sheeran? She's like, yeah, Sheeran. Sheeran or Sheeran? And she goes, Ed Sheeran. Oh, yeah, I know Ed Sheeran.
Mm-hmm,
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't like Ed Sheeran?
No, actually, I think that he thinks it's remarkable that somebody would screw him in the first place. A song about him finding a girl in the pub and them screwing is so revolutionary, don't you think? It's never been done before.
Never happened before.
Never happened. And it's Ed Sheeran, so he's consistently revolutionary. If that's even possible. Move over, Patti Smith. Die, Patti Smith. We have a new revolutionary here. I think he is secretly behind all the Arab Spring things. I think it just transcends language, how revolutionary he is. Kim Jong-un, you better watch out.
Yeah, Kim Jong-un thought everybody hated him.
But
Ed Sheeran has really united everyone against Ed Sheeran.
He has united everybody. My goodness, he is so remarkable, different, relevant, irreplaceable, really good looking too.
Well, here's what I do. Is I still run Nagoyaradio.com, but I'm just bored with soloists. So if I see I could see Paul McCartney or something. Like Paul McCartney, it's boring. It's a boring name. But the Beatles, I'll play it. Or there's some cases they have bands and it's a guy, but he calls it. It's a guy, but it's a band's name. This happens several times.
Right. Like
the Eels. The Eels is actually just one guy. The Eels.
Okay, like Owl City is just that one guy. Right. That one.
And the Eels, more people will buy the Eels than they would if it was just like John Smith. Yeah, John Smith is boring. Right. So Ed Sheeran is like, I never even listened to him, and then people are, referencing Ed Sheeran, and I'm like, I'm not too old for cultural references. But I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah. I had something I wanted to ask Mike. We've talked before, Steve and I and Mike and I think have talked before on the podcast about, there's this show called Kill Tony. It's on YouTube, and it's basically open mic, but you have 1 minute, and you have 1 in 300 chance or something that you're going to get called. They pull your name out of a hat. And when they call you, you have to get down immediately on stage, and you do 1 minute. And then some of the best comedians ever, like I don't know if you know Anthony Jeselnik, or there's just big names in comedy, they critique you. And that's just amazing if you could ever – we would kill for that. We'd kill Tony for that. When I look at these, I always think – maybe we can make our open mics more fun if we made them Kill Tony, where basically you'd get up, you'd do a minute or 2 minutes, whatever, and then we critique you. But we have enough people that hate themselves already to do an open mic that I don't think they can handle a critique.
Right.
What do you think about it? What do you think, Mike?
Oh, well, I think you have to have some kind of optimism to do the open mic to begin with, or bravery also.
If you can get a little closer.
Oh, sorry, like this? Okay. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, you do have to have some bravado, right?
Yeah, some bravado, some optimism, some intoxication in you to do an open mic. I'm not a damn expert, on the art of open micing.
I gotta say though that
you can call me Tofi here.
Can I call you anti-Semitic for short? Actually,
A.S.
etymologically, I can't.
A.S.
Etymologically, I can't because we're both Semites.
Yes, that's true.
So it's actually not a true epithet. But actually, microphone companies love Tofi when he does stand-up because he drops the mic and then they have to send a new one. They love him.
Yes,
Shure, S-H-U-R-E. I think it'll be the poster child for the Shure mic. It's like, drop the mic, please. We need more sales.
Well, I am the impromptu mic quality tester.
Yeah,
I was actually there on a gig that night when I was doing the open mic. I just had to have some way to infiltrate and check the quality of the mics.
That's kind of an inside story, and Tofi did an open mic at one of these venues, and one of his jokes was where I
dropped the mic to show somebody my ass. It was Joe Heineman. Hi, Joe. How are you?
Joe has left the country.
He left the country. I can't imagine why.
Right after that show.
I cannot imagine why.
Joe's actually he was on a few of our podcasts. So, also, I have a bone to pick with Tofi, and Mike knows the reveal. Mike knows about my personal life and why I went to New York recently.
Uh-huh.
Now, you may recall the last time you were here, we were comparing Jewish moms to Arab moms.
Mm-hmm.
And now, how's your mom?
She is... I had a bone to pick with my mom, actually.
Yeah?
On that note.
Well, just short answer, how's your mom? And I'll tell you how mine is.
She's fine.
My mom's dead. Thanks. I talked to an Arab. My mom's really dead. I talked to an Arab. Hi, Rabbi. Talk about my mom to an Arab, and, a couple months later, she's dead. So you've got a lot of explaining to do.
Oh, well.
You got some Arab Spring explaining to do.
I do. It was never my intention, but at the family reunion, they interrogate you. So it was either confess my homosexuality or confess it to acting with a Jew. I chose the latter, and they took it from there.
And, I'm not saying that interview with you had anything to do with her death, but, what really made me angry is then right after she died, I turned on, it's kind of like 9/11, right after she died, I turned on the TV and I see Palestinians giving out candy and celebrating. So that was not, I didn't like that. I didn't like that.
I am against diabetes for Palestinians.
I didn't like that.
They have enough problems.
Now they're throwing them into Israel and trying to give Israelis diabetes.
Yeah, why not?
So actually, my mom died, and it was really bad timing because Mike was there when I heard that, and we had a show. I found out maybe I think it was 6 hours ago or something, and I had a show that night.
Yeah. Wow!
And so I got on, and I'm like, listen, I got to tell you something. Don't get bummed out. We're getting ready to go on. My mom died, but it's fine. It's fine.
It's fine.
It's fine. Don't worry about it.
Mark, it's okay, man.
If it's fine, don't talk about it before on stage.
Why am I not surprised that a Jew used a joke about the death of his mom in his show to make people laugh?
To make money?
Yeah.
Is there a better reason?
Yeah. Well, I admire resourcefulness. I would have done the same thing, I think.
You could probably make some money even if she's not dead. Just say she is,
I am craving attention these days after the loss of several former friends. I might just screwing do that.
Where's the beat machine?
To close this out, I'm going to tell a joke that I think I told the comedians the night of before we went on so they wouldn't be all bummed out. But this actually happened. When my mom she died on a Friday night, and the Thursday night before, the nurse said it's touch and go. Could be 24 hours, could be a week. But you need to talk to her, and I told her some jokes, and she couldn't speak back. She was just listening, and she had a mask on for respirator.
Oh, that's why she didn't laugh.
That's why she didn't laugh. It's not because the jokes were funny.
Right.
The jokes were hilarious.
I see.
Yeah, that's why. That's my story.
Right.
You weren't there.
Right.
All right. So that's why and it does explain why she never laughed ever before at my jokes, because she wasn't on a respirator. But this time I know the reason.
Mm-hmm.
And so anyway, I forgot something, and I wanted to call back, and I called back, and I did talk to her later, but I asked for the room number at the hospital, and some guy picked it up, and he's like, yeah, who's this? I hear laughter, and I hear, do you want more wine? I'm like, who is this? Am I in the wrong room? What? He's like, who's this? I said, my mom's supposed to be in this room. And he goes, oh, I'm the rabbi. I said, what are you doing? You having a party there?
Oh, my God.
He goes, no, we're just telling her some jokes, and she's responding well to it. She can't talk back or anything, but she's responding well to it, so we're telling her our favorite jokes and stuff, So, how much do you charge per joke? Because my rabbi is like, hey, your mom was really in a good mood when she passed away, and she actually, right before she died, she actually wrote me a note, said, my son will pay you. My son will pay you whatever you ask. Really? Where's that note? Oh, then she gobbled it up, and then she died. And really, that's kind of weird.
But it's the truth because I'm a rabbi. Okay.
Yeah. So that's the thing. It's like, when I tell you a myth, I'm a rabbi. And the oil,
no comment.
And the oil at Hanukkah lasted a lot longer than it normally would. It's kind of like Mike is driving a car, on empty, and usually he can do that for a day. But at Hanukkah, he was able to do it for 2 days.
And he's not even Jewish, is he?
No.
It's a miracle.
Wow.
Hallelujah.
So it's a sign that you should convert, Mike.
So the thing is, with the rabbi, when people pass on in Judaism, it's not a sad event. And actually, the funerals are hilarious. They really are.
Okay.
Especially the Arabs. She died. No, but I mean, even the Jews, Jews, they're hilarious because it's like celebrate the life.
Right.
We're all going to die. We all have this mortal coil. We're all going to die, but let's celebrate our life. And we basically, and I wasn't able to make the funeral, but basically what you do is you tell the favorite stories, And I have to go back to Mr. Saturday Night, which is a movie with Billy Crystal. It's about being a Jewish comic.
Right, I remember that one.
And he did this one where his mom died, and I kind of did a takeoff on that. But in the movie, this is his joke, and his mom died, and he said, when I first heard that mom passed, I was horrified. And I made some phone calls, and I said, did anybody get her recipe for strudel? Because it was great. Nobody made it like her.
Right.
I was panicking. Yeah, but luckily, my sister has it, so everything's fine. So he actually told that at a funeral, but redid that in the movie. But that section was like,
that reminds me of something. If I may give you a short story.
Sure.
My grandma passed away about 10 years ago.
That's a good story.
Hold on now. So she passed away 10 years ago. God bless her. She was very loving, but not very bright. But she didn't need to be, Anyway, she could do two things very, very well, which was lemonade and this pastry filled with something called kishik, which is a onion and cheese-based broth. It's very delicious. I don't like kishik from anybody else except my grandma. When my dad makes it, I leave the house because it reeks up the house. If anyone knows what kishik is, be very selective in purchasing it because it's either you're really good at it or you suck. And it's usually, just 10% of the times good. Anyway, after she passed away, I told my mom, oh my God, who's going to make me kishik now? And my mom was like, oh, I think I can do it for you. I'm like, but grandma had that secret ingredient that just made it so amazing because she really, really did. It would taste different from anything else. And my mom was like, oh, that was ketchup.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, what?
That's great. It was Heinz.
That's good.
Known throughout the Middle East.
Before we go, I got to ask you: is it similar to that? Like at Arab funerals, are they morose or?
Oh no, they're very somber affairs. If you laugh, it's very disrespectful.
Because they're celebrated in Tel Aviv.
Yeah.
Sometimes the reason is from Tel Aviv.
Don't people hire whalers, professional whalers for Muslim, or is that maybe the Orthodox do that?
Whalers with an I. I thought you were going reggae on me right now. No, I don't think.
No, I think it's the Orthodox. They have professional whalers who will whale.
It was in Korea.
Oh, hold on. I know what you mean. I think
like that kind of thing.
The la 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 is at weddings.
Okay.
So
that's what the women do.
Okay.
So Mike, you were mentioning you were mentioning in Korea they have prostitutes or models.
China, prostitutes are paid.
It's like funerals?
Oh yeah, for funerals?
To attract the attention.
It's like, do I have to die to have a funeral? I would like a party like that. I don't want to be dead.
And he came back to life just in time.
By your family, mind you.
Swing.
She raised the dead. It was a miracle.
Yeah.
All right, so this has been Talk Funny. We'll be back and we'll talk to you soon.